Welcome back. Today we are talking all about the energizing mindset that takes place when you are on your mission as a psychic medium. So this is an important topic that we talk a lot about between the two of us, and the things that we've witnessed with psychic mediums and healers, that they need that burst of energy that sometimes can shift away if they don't feel confident, if they're not getting the clients that they want. And we want to make sure that that is sustained throughout.
Yeah, and why are we talking about the mindset? Is it because it's the cool thing to talk about nowadays? No. It's because we understand that when people put their gas on, their brake on, their gas on, oh, I did the work for a year, then I quit for 2 years, we realize that all comes down to these principles that we're going to talk about, these simple action steps that you can do that we're going to talk about on this episode that solves all of that. And it all has to do with how they're seeing their world and how they're seeing themselves, which is mindset.
Definitely. And I think the big thing when it comes to mindset is sometimes we don't even know that we're in our own way when it's happening.
I'll raise my hand on that one.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
happened so many times in
Oh,
this last decade in business, and
there's
it'll
so
continue
many
to
things.
happen.
And it's going to continue to happen. But once you start to become aware of the patterns, like we talked about in the last episode, things start to shift and you start to notice your own patterns, your own excuses, and you figure out, wow, like this is why I'm stuck, or this is why I don't have that same energy that I had once when I was in a mentorship program, or with the right mentor. Like that impacts everything too. If the people that you're working with don't have the same mindset that you want to achieve, you need to look around and think, what feels right to me too? Because
Yes,
I think that's a
exactly.
big part of it, like, is being led by someone that has the powerful mindset. And there's a lot of amazing mentors out there. I will say one of the mentors that sticks out to me was Mavis Patilla. I mean, she had the powerful mindset. That's why I absolutely loved learning with her and still continue to learn with her, because of her faith and how she still comes through.
Exactly. You've had so many effects that have come from you being surrounded by Mavis.
Yeah.
And we can talk about what the mindset is.
Right.
The whole podcast, we could talk about how you need to believe in yourself. Whenever you have the feeling of I'm not enough, or what are they going to think, or something that comes in internally, you need to overcome it. We could talk about that, blah, 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 blah. What we're talking about here is what you can actually do, the places you can go to where if you put yourself in these environments, like you've already started to point to, having that right mentor, that right community, you put yourself in a community that's ideal for you, which
Right.
you trust your own intuition,
You know.
where you fit. All of this stuff happens.
Yes.
We've noticed when we are connected to communities of like-minded people, we get filled with energy. Something hits us when we're there. A new momentum is created. And we've realized that's why we join masterminds. We join personal development on a quarterly basis where we do total immersions. We just got done doing one for 3 straight days, about probably 40 hours into it in 3 days. Why? Because we realized when we were not doing that at the beginning, we would have more times to where we felt burnt out. We would have more times to where we felt unclear. And we were wasting all of our time and energy thinking about things that we didn't need to do. Did we know? Yeah, you need to believe in yourself. You need to overcome the things inside. We already read about that in books. When we went into the right communities, it started to happen. We see it with our clients that come into our communities. They listen to other people inside the programs say something, and they're like, whoa,
And they have
I
a massive
feel
breakthrough.
that same way. And they have a breakthrough just from communicating with each other, let alone getting the right tools and the right path, the right business system and all of that. Like, there's a business mindset, there's technology, there's so many things that go with having a successful business. Is not just, oh, I care about people and that it's going to be successful because of that. That shit doesn't work that way. We realized that a long time ago. You could care about people so much. If you don't develop business skills or hire a team or get around a community of people that can help you with this,
Right.
you will start to lose your energy. You will start to lose your focus.
And
You'll start
that's
to
what
spin
you
your
need
wheels.
as a psychic medium healer and coach is energy.
That's what you need. If you don't have energy,
Any
you can't do your work.
business, really any business that you're running. I mean, we just heard a stat that was shocking about the amount of businesses that aren't successful and fail. And there's only a small window. I think it's less than 5 or 10% of businesses that last past five years.
Yeah, it's past 5 years.
So that comes into play. It's just like when we were teachers, we had to go do the development workshops. We had to keep up with our points, even if we were resisting, like, oh, we have to do another workshop. But when you're in business, you have to maintain that because things are always changing and we're always changing and our clients are always changing. So it kind of goes along with this that to sustain the energy, the mindset is you're always a learner too. Like you're always going to be a lifelong learner and it's fun. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be boring. Like we can choose what we take for classes. We can choose what we're going to learn. And we could also choose what we're going to hire out, like you said. Like there's certain things for technology that I just don't want to do anymore. So I have a virtual assistant that helps me with that. You know, customer service, my virtual assistant helps me. So there's things that you can utilize so that you know I don't have to do it all. And that's the mindset of an entrepreneur, really.
And you start to realize these patterns when you get around other people that are doing things that you either want to do or that you're already doing, like being a psychic medium, full-time business owner, or a healer
Right.
or a coach. And you start to see these patterns whenever you enter into these communities.
Yes.
And before you enter into the communities, you can feel like you're on an island by yourself and you could feel alone because the average person in your life, they're not going to get you. Okay, you're a medium, healer, coach. If you were just an entrepreneur, the average person in your life would not get you.
Same with when we were teachers, I didn't understand
Now
either.
you're an entrepreneur. Exactly. You're not going to fully understand anything, but really being an entrepreneur and a medium and a healer, it's like, we're all pioneers here. So do you need to hang out with this community all the time? No, if you want to, you can. Some people do. I like a variety. I love hanging out with a variety of people. My temperature gauge is like if they have a good heart, I could be around them. I love being around good-hearted, open people. But I realize I have to have a consistent flow to where I'm around other entrepreneurs or people that are on a mission, that are hungry on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we do quarterly, at least total immersions.
Yes.
Which are at least 3 days, 4 days, sometimes 6 days straight, all day long from 8 a.m. till, midnight, 10
Or
a.m.,
1
10
a.m.
p.m., 1 a.m. And we do this because we love learning, we value education, but we also need it. We need it to be sustainable.
And to sustain the energy for our clients.
For our clients, for our mission.
I think
we want to
that's the
be
big
around
thing.
5 years from now. Exactly, because as a healer, as a coach, a medium, you're using all of this energy to help your clients.
Right.
And if your energy starts to deplete, which it will if you're not in the right communities on a consistent basis, all of a sudden your impact starts to go down too.
Definitely. Yeah, you can't just share this the other day. You can't pour from an empty cup. And we know what it feels like to feel that energetic low. Like there's times where if your physical body is not feeling well or your mindset's not feeling well, you really can't give the amount of energy that you should be for your clients. And your clients should be getting the best version of yourself. You know, we've all had those days where there's like a rough day, like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through this day? But that shouldn't be happening 80% of the time. You should be in your peak energy when you're working with clients. They're paying you and investing the time and energy and money into the services. You want to make sure that you're giving them everything that you have. And I feel like this comes into play too when it comes to family and friends too. You want to be in high energy for them. This isn't just about the mission of the aspect of just clients. It's like it's living here on earth. You're also doing a service for being on earth as a human being. Everyone is. So you want to make sure you're giving everything that you have, and you have to have that balance to give back to yourself. So indirectly, you can give to other people.
Yes.
So that's the big thing.
It is a huge thing. And another key here too is staying on your path.
Yes.
If you're not on your path, you're not being squeezed. And if you're not being squeezed, you don't know what's inside of you. And if you don't know what's inside of you, you don't know what's stopping you. So once people that are on their path, we're on our path. We don't put the gas on, brakes on, gas on. Like, we're consistent. We stay consistent. And the people that are consistently on their path, they are going farther faster because they're able to see what's inside them. Like, I didn't know what was all the way inside me until I started to do things that put pressure on me.
Right.
I used to run away from that. I used to be like, oh no, I just want to stay in my comfort zone. I was always an achiever, so I'd go a little bit at a time, but I was moving like a snail because unconsciously looking back, I knew that when I did go and get all that pressure, I'd have to deal with myself. And unconsciously, I feel it seems like to me that we're all scared to do that. It's like we're running away from that. And it's the opposite. If you just stay on your path, which means you're serving your clients,
Right.
you're giving readings, you're doing the things that are on your path, what you're called to, you're out in the game. If you're a professional basketball player, you're out on the court, you're not just talking about it. Now you're being squeezed, and now you're figuring out what's inside of you, and you can handle it, and it's like finding gold. It's exciting. I used to feel bad about finding more things about myself. I reversed that script, and I start to realize that it's finding gold. When I find something inside of me that's new, it's like, whoa, this is exciting. I found something I didn't know about myself. Like, you hear all these quotes, know yourself and you master the world, something like that. This is what we're talking about here. It's like knowing yourself and how you're seeing the world, what's holding you back, what's moving you forward.
And it all comes down to the coaching, that if we didn't have the space to see it, it might have taken a little bit longer. But because of the coaching, because of putting ourselves in situations where we're in a class with peers and we heard stories and we had these discoveries, we're able to see these patterns.
Yes.
And then things completely shifted. I think that that's the big thing. You know, when people say, well, my business isn't moving fast enough, or my mission, I don't know where to go. And they tell me their story. I'll hear the background. I'm genuinely intrigued to figure out, like, okay, where are you at? Where can I guide you? And a lot of the things that come up is connected to, well, I took a class about 2 years ago and I was really confident. And then things got busy in my life. You know, this and that happened. And then I fell off and I just stopped altogether. No wonder why you don't have that same drive, because you don't have the support. You're not in the energy of what you're doing, what your mission is. So we have to think about, sometimes we overcomplicate things and think, oh my gosh, well, I'm not doing well. And maybe it's because of this, and that in my life. A lot of the times it's because we're not intentional about wanting to still be there. We're not choosing the mentor again. We're not choosing to be around peers. We're kind of ignoring that sense of self that wants to do it, but they're afraid. So they kind of numb out and just do everything else to get distracted. So that's coming back to the pattern of actually reflecting.
Yeah. And if you're not on your path and then you go to take these classes where there's other people that are on their path.
Right.
And you have a mentor that's talking about figuring out what's holding you back and all that, you're going to be confused. You're going to think that you don't have anything holding you back.
Right.
We found that pattern so many times of people that are in our classes, which is very rare, very few, that
probably 1%, I would say.
Yeah, it's a very few, but it's a pattern we notice, and it's huge dimension. They're in our class and they're like, no, I don't never feel like I care about what other people think. I don't ever feel like, and it's like, we're sitting here knowing that we've had thousands of deep conversations with people that are just all similar to us, healers. And it's a pattern that we all have. We all feel that. And if we're lying about it, which many of them are not necessarily lying about it, like I'm saying, it's just they're not aware all the way because they're not on their path and they're not being squeezed. So then when they go to the community, it's like they're not getting as much out of it. You need the whole circuit. You need to be on your path, being squeezed, have that clarity of what's inside of you. And then when you go to these classes, the coaching, like what we do in our masterminds and all that, we could help people have clarity through coaching. All that's going to be way more powerful because you'll be able to see more so into yourself, and you'll be able to see more blind spots in that moment, to where if you're not on your path, you're going to go to these places and you're not going to see any blind spot.
Exactly. Well, it's like the different phases.
Positive.
Right. It's like the different phases of where you're at in your business. Like first you're like, oh, I'm putting myself out there and I'm, doing the mission, I'm getting all these positive experiences. People are enjoying my things. Then I retract a little bit and I do things behind the scenes. And then I put myself out there and I do it again. But when you're not fully in the path, where you're not fully being visible in all ways, it doesn't mean it has to be the internet. It could be in person. Most likely you're not going to get the same resistance that you would when you're fully in your path. That to me is the number one thing to show that you're moving at a rapid rate or you're growing, is the resistance. It's either internal resistance or it's external resistance. It could be by strangers. It could be by friends and family. It could be by your own inner thoughts. If you're not experiencing resistance, you're not playing big enough. You're not there yet. And that's okay. It's not to shame you. It's to make you think, okay, I still have more work to do. I still have more work to do if I'm not experiencing resistance.
Yeah, and we all know that. We all know that pressure reveals how people really are, their character. Pressure will reveal that. And many times pressure revealed to me where I'm like, I need to get control of my emotions at times because I'm getting pressured and all of a sudden my emotions, I'm an emotional person. I only knew that from pressure. If I was like trying to be everything all smooth and act like everything's positive and keep myself comfortable, I would never found that out about myself.
Right.
And then you learn about other people too with pressure. Another thing too, if you don't have energy to do your mission, you're either not clear about your vision all the way or you're not clear about why, the reasons why. Our brains are computers. When we're clear about our target and the reasons why, there's a fuel, there's an energy, there's something that happens internally to where it aligns with all of your internal values and your programming. And when something's real and raw, it's the same thing when you meet somebody like that. It's very refreshing and it's very impactful.
Yeah. And that inner knowing vibrates out. So you bring in more things like that to you when you're clear. If it's someone that's thinking, oh, I think my mission is this, and then there's a million things happening around it, like I'm busy with this, so I can't get to that. You can feel that in the energy. It's not that clarity, that clear line that you can see, like, that you have that vision, it's going to happen no matter what, like you are going to find a way. And I know we touched on that in last episode, but I think it's important to bring up that this is part of everything. Like if you're feeling like things aren't flowing, you're not in alignment in some way. Either your thoughts and your actions don't match up and there's some conflicting beliefs, or something's going on where you have to figure out, what is my pattern? Why is this happening? Why isn't it easy? Because really it should be easy. It's just like I think about floating, on your back in the pool. Like we've talked a lot about this. When you're just breathing and you're focusing on your energy, on your lungs, like focusing on being present, you can easily float on your back. But when you're overthinking things and you're not focused on your breathing, you feel like you're sinking down, right? Like we've
taught me that. Lindsay taught me how to float. That's exactly what it was when I was trying to do it. And
it didn't work well.
But when I figure out the right techniques, the right strategy,
being present,
and I just did that. When you do the right path or the effective simple steps, it flows. So when I'm playing sports, if I'm out there on the basketball court and I'm like feeling rigid and all that, I know I'm off. If I'm not thinking and I'm just feeling everything on the court and everything's flowing and I'm making these passes where I'm like, how the hell did I just do that? What did that for me? You should be asking yourself that after you're doing anything, a reading or anything. You should be like, whoa, what was helping me do that? There was something else helping me do that. And the only way you get out of that is getting out of your head and into your soul, who you are, and flow.
And it's kind of funny. This is like a weird example, but I'm thinking when you were talking about that with the basketball, I remember being in college and playing beer pong. When I had a couple of drinks in me, I was amazing. I didn't even think about it. I was always getting it in because I wasn't in my head. Because at that point, I couldn't loosen up without having like a beer in me, So it was very natural for me to just throw the ball in the beer pong cup, and I was really good at it. But if I was thinking about it, it never happened. So I'm not saying to go and drink to be in alignment, but I'm saying this is an example. Sometimes we can overdo things by overthinking. And the thinking gets you out of alignment. And we want to be more in that natural flow of things, just like the water, the water flowing down the river. We're not going to swim upstream. That's not going to work really well. We'd be using so much energy. But if we just float down the river, it's going to carry us down without exerting as much energy as we would if we were pushing against the current. And that's what happens with our business. Being in alignment will make things easy, smooth, and we're like, why is this happening? It's not a coincidence. It's the underlying why and that energy that is carrying you.
So stay in the right communities,
Yes.
right people. You start to notice patterns. When you notice patterns, you can use those patterns. You can create your new patterns. The second one is know your what and why. Have absolute clarity. How do you do that? Say it out loud over and over. Every day you should be doing this. Journaling every day, at least so many minutes. Like I do it on my walks. We talk about it. I journal about it every day. With our masterclass we have tonight, I did a what and why just for that. It's like, all right, the what, the vision. All right, it's going to be a transformational masterclass. It lifts everybody up. It moves the needle in their business, their life. And then the why, it's part of my inner calling. It's part of my mission. It's going to heal so many people. The ripple effect of all these leaders that are on this masterclass tonight are going to go out and they're going to go heal more people.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just keep getting more clear and clear of the real reasons why you're doing anything. And it's that repetition over and over. I used to just look at this with like broad things where I was like, all right, I got my vision. I got my why for my 20-year vision. No, we're talking about your what and why even on your reading you have today. You just go over it real quickly in your head. All right, what? The result is this. And you just train your brain to think that way, because when your brain thinks that way, all of a sudden, all of this energy is inside of you. So community, staying on your right path, and the what and why, automatically you'll have the mindset. If you just stay consistent, you'll start to sculpt this mindset that's unstoppable, that you will be around here 5 years from now when most people won't.
Yes. And just as a side note, we want you to stay connected all the time. So if for some reason Facebook's down or Instagram's down, sign up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So go to the Lindsay and Tony podcast, and you can see all of our old episodes there. And definitely check out both of our websites and sign up for our newsletter, because we just had Facebook go down a couple weeks ago, and I have been getting that nudge to continue to tell people and direct people to go to our websites to sign up so that you don't miss out on any classes, any events that we have coming up. We do a lot of in-person and online events. So lindsaymarino.com, TonyCmitchell.com, and let us know what insights you had from this episode. We want to hear from you.